Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. This is a very important live stream, and it's with a heavy heart, very sad, a great deal of sadness and a heavy heart that I inform you, as you already know, that the president's brother has passed away, Robert Trump. And it's also with not disbelief, but absolute disgust and astonishment that Democrats and people on the left, the wonderful, morally superior, righteous liberals and progressives and people on the left generally, actors, and we'll get to President Trump predicting Clinton 2020. Share my article below in the Huffington Post. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Thank God he's a great president. And when he wins, and he will win, it will be absolutely amazing and a spiritual experience almost to see the meltdown on the left because of all the vile contempt that they've spewed towards not just the president, anyone who supports the president. But I can't wrap my mind around the fact that you have the most petty, disgusting, pathetic, vile, insidious, duplicitous, disingenuous hypocrites on the left that demand you show reverence, that demand you respect and revere every single nonsensical and irrational claim they make about anything from language to a former nominee falling to the ground during a Memorial Day or during an event where we won't get into it. An anniversary of the most horrendous tragedy in U.S. history, but we won't get into it. But if you dared question or perhaps speculate on why that person fell to the ground, oh my God, you are a vile human being. And President Trump's brother passes away, and you get the hashtag wrong Trump. So they're pretty honest with what they truly believe. And just like with Tara Reade, where they say believe, 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 and oh, well, we don't believe Tara Reade, or we do, but we don't care. All the reverence that they demand, all the kind of, and I'm speaking in roundabout terms, and like watch H.A. Goodman's other channel for a more honest version of what I'm thinking. Hidden for time. God willing, it will happen. President Trump winning. Yes. Hidden for time. Thank you. But you have the president's brother passing away. And then you have the biggest, most pathetic imbeciles on the left saying, well, tell that to the people who lost their lives in the pandemic, that we should respect Trump. What does that have to do with Trump? He's not the governor of New York, the epicenter of this pandemic. Do you think he runs New York or New Jersey or Illinois or Michigan or Pennsylvania? Or 2 or 3 other states? About 8 to 9, about 5 to 7, about 7 blue Democratic-run states have the majority of the lives lost, or no, half of the lives lost. And over half if you add about 8 to 9 Democratic-run states. Urban centers, cities, metropolitan areas are the worst hit. Why? Because they're run by Democrats. The people who are most vulnerable have their councilman, their mayor, their governor, their senator, almost certainly being a Democrat. Look at the New York Times. So for people who say, oh, well, and by the way, Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, hello, two best moderators in all of YouTube. For people who say, well, you know, Trump is, he doesn't feel, he has no empathy. Who is telling you this? The same people who are saying wrong Trump who are trying to say that the president should have lost his life, and who are denigrating and mocking the fact that he's mourning his brother's passing. These are the most vile individuals you could ever. These people are such narcissists that they will pontificate and preach while at the same time acting in the most duplicitous manner, acting in the exact opposite manner that they claim to uphold. The day John Lewis passed away, President Trump tweeted the following: "Saddened to hear the news of civil rights hero John Lewis passing. Melania and I send our prayers to he and his family." What is disrespectful about that? Nothing. Nothing is disrespectful about that. The day John McCain passed away, the flag was at half-mast, I believe also for John Lewis as well. A flag was at half-mast at the White House and the Capitol, and President Trump said that he was, what did he say? He said the following statement. Trump lowers White House flag, and then he made the following: "Despite our differences on policy, I respect John McCain's service to our country. In his honor, have signed a proclamation to fly the flag of the United States at half staff until the day of his interment. Tell me what's wrong with that." So you could say, well, you said things afterwards. Well, yeah, okay, months after. Not the day, and it was about politics. And it wasn't about John McCain's brother. These people are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. You have 90 celebrities, 80 celebrities who have zero relevance in Hollywood, zero relevance, who are making a name for themselves just by spewing contempt against Trump. Tell me what Trump has done that's worse than what President Obama did, destroying a country in Libya. Tell me what Trump has done that's what's worse than what Obama did in Libya. Tell me, I want to know. You have the most vile, duplicitous, disingenuous, hypocritical people making fun of President Trump today of all days. And this is exactly why they'll lose. Sandiford! Exactly. In a July poll, the Blaze 57% of respondents indicated they did not believe I will still be on the nominee. That's because it ain't going to... Well, I say, Madam Secretary, the only way they win is with Hillary Clinton, and the only possible chance they have is with Clinton. She's a superior candidate to Biden in every way, shape, and form, and she'll still lose to Trump. But Hillary Clinton is the only chance Democrats have, and the more contempt that people have towards Trump, the better it is for the Clintons and the Democratic Party. But she's the only chance they have. And everybody knows this, and I will have made the biggest political call of all time, along with everybody here on this channel. Sandiford, thank you so very much. Jacob Reed, love you. Keep it up. It's getting good, buddy. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob Reed. Greatly appreciated, and I love the positivity and the positive comments and the kind words. Thank you. But whenever somebody passes out on the Democratic side during a anniversary or some kind of event, and you question why, not make fun, you just question why they passed out, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. When Kavanaugh is being sworn in, you bet, oh my God, we believe first and demand evidence later. And then when it's Tara Reid, well, the media has to vet. Well, the world is going to end in 11 years, the UN says. And then Vox, the first climate change bill in 10 years. These people are the biggest hypocrites. Their rhetoric never corresponds with their actions or behavior. They simply want political power and influence. That's it. They don't care. So they're making fun of President Trump now. If Republicans did the same thing, it would be the alt-right, and oh my God, and look at the average, the actual deplorables are on the left. They're not on the right. They're not the Trump supporters. Maybe they're on the far right, but they're not the Trump supporters. The Trump supporters aren't the deplorables. The deplorables are the actors who have literally had Secret Service agents show up at their door because they advocate harm to President Trump or his family members. Old school dad, man! Trump is guilty of doing what he said he would do. The left has lost all sense of honor and morality. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. You have people, old school dad man, who have not only lost their minds, but you have people, ladies and gentlemen, who don't have a basic grasp of logic. So I'm going to speak to the brilliant Democrats and liberals and anyone on the left, progressives, whatever, far left, who make moral equivalencies or absurd leaps of logic. If you say that you can make fun or insult President Trump because of a quote taken out of context, or because we've had people who've lost their lives, 160, 170,000 people who've lost their lives because of a pandemic that Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York said was the people at low risk to the people of New York. Let's look at what the governor of New York said. Old school dad man, thank you so very much. The risk remains low. He stated on March 1st, the risk remains low. There is no reason for undue anxiety. The general risk remains low in New York. We are diligently managing the situation, provided it comes. This is the governor of New York on March 1st. You mean to tell me that's Trump's fault? So when people say, why should I give respect to Trump? He lacks empathy. I'm going to show how much empathy I have by insulting him and his family when his brother passed away because people lost their lives in a pandemic, where the governor of New York, and New York is the epicenter of all the carnage, stated on March 1st, there's no reason for undue anxiety. The general risk remains low in New York. It is the epicenter on the planet. That's not Trump's fault. That's not Trump's fault. And then you have the imbeciles saying, well, he didn't lead. Nothing he would have said, Democrats would have believed, media would have believed. He already tried to say certain things, and of course, I can't even bring them up on YouTube. And then now you have Yale scientists and doctors and studies saying, yeah, you know what? That was actually can save people's lives. The biggest, most hypocritical, and this is why they'll lose again. And it's okay to, if you want to say, oh, if Trump loses and they make fun of Trump supporters, hey, fair game, go, that's fine. But when someone loses their life, these people are vile. I'm telling you, the deplorables are not Trump supporters. They're the I'm with her crowd. They're the people who think they're morally superior, who don't talk to their friends because the friends are Trump supporters. Meanwhile, they vote for President Obama. Maybe all the Democrats are voting for Biden because he destroyed Libya. Maybe they really want people being bought and sold in that country because Obama, Biden, and Clinton actually destroyed the country. Maybe that's why they're voting. See how that logic works, Democrats? You pick the worst, the absolute worst of President Obama's administration, his decisions that directly impacted the lives of people, not like Trump in the pandemic. Because Democrats, the Obama administration didn't even leave enough masks. The masks were depleted. And that's a fact. Even Snopes says that, the Bible of Democrats. But maybe Democrats really want countries to be obliterated. Maybe that's why they're voting for Hillary Clinton will be nominee. Maybe they're voting because they want countries to be obliterated and people to be in civil conflict and turmoil and countries to be failed states. Maybe that's what really drives the Democratic voter. See how that logic works? See how that logic works? Democrats? Prondy! Well, let's see. I think he should be pardoned tomorrow. I think Assange and Snowden should be pardoned tomorrow. Prawn D, thank you. I think they both should be pardoned tomorrow. Prawn D, thank you so very much. That would be yet another reason to vote for President Trump. But you look at the way Democrats think. They're like, well, if you vote for Trump, you're co-signing his racism. So if you vote for, first of all, there is no racism in being the president that has allocated the most funding to historically black colleges and universities than any other president. He's allocated more funding to HBCUs than any other president, including President Obama. There's no racism in that. There's no racism in President Trump signing the First Step Act, which addresses the structural inequalities and structural and systemic racism that Democrats are protesting against. There's no racism in presiding over an economy where there's record low Black and Latino unemployment. So, I mean, his words, okay, and so your words are okay, and Biden's words saying that you ain't black if you have a problem voting for Trump over Biden, that's the most offensive and disgusting comment, racist comment, but it's from Biden. They have no value system. The left has no value system. The biggest hypocrites on the planet. The biggest, most disingenuous hypocrites. And this is the hilarious thing about the left. They truly think that everyone cares what they view or what they believe. They think that everyone should care about their condemnation. Nobody gives a you-know-what they think about anything. Prawn D, thank you. They should both be given a pardon. Prawn D, thank you. Valerie Rogers, thank you. Condolences to the Trump family, absolutely. So you have a situation where what did President Trump, you have to ask, what did Trump do that's worse? What did Trump, it's not Trump's handling of the response has nothing to do with why people lost their lives, because he's not a governor or a mayor of states that were hardest hit. The states hardest hit by not only the pandemic, but also unemployment are Democratic-run states. Look at the New York Times. That is a fact. Around half of the lives lost and cases in the entire country are in New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and you can add about 2 or 3 other Democratic-run states, and you'll get to over half. Thank you. But it's just so, it's unbelievable. You have Hollywood celebrities that haven't done a movie in decades. They are not relevant anymore. They weren't even relevant before the internet. After the internet, they're even less relevant. You might have known who they were, but they weren't box office, hits. They weren't, these are people who maybe had sitcoms where they were known for a sitcom or had supporting roles in certain films. Big deal. There are people on YouTube that are have a great deal more fame or more recognizable. Certainly not me. And that's fantastic. That's good. It's good that barely anybody knows who I am. But the thing is, there are people who have millions upon millions of subs in all different categories or genres, or top interests within the YouTube world that are far more influential or far more interesting than 80s and 90s celebrities that make their living now just hating on Trump. A man's brother passed away. Tell me what Trump has ever said that is the same thing as #WrongTrump. Tell me when he went after a family member right after the person passed away. Right after the person passed away. Hasn't happened. Now, if he went after somebody because in a couple months later because of politics, and he said something about a politician who passed away, and it wasn't that day, and it was based on the politician actually doing Trump harm. So when he criticized McCain, it was because McCain had something directly to do with the Steele dossier. And, it's like, if you want to go after Trump or Trump's brother, you want to say, well, you know what? He went after John Dingell, the congressman, and he said something bad about him. That was 7, 8, 9 months after the congressman had passed away. And then still, you get the articles, Debbie Dingell on Trump's insulting her late husband. There are lines you don't cross, and I agree with that. I agree with Debbie Dingell. I think President Trump probably shouldn't have said anything. But that was 9 months. You want to wait 9 months? And John Dingell couldn't stand Trump. Every day he tried to insult Trump. Every single day he tried to insult Trump. But so he went after those people months after, and it wasn't even going after. He made a comment. He didn't get a hashtag trending. So people want to say, well, Trump does the same thing. No, it doesn't do the same thing. He doesn't do it nearly. Trump is not nearly the bully the left is. I know, I used to be on the left. They're just a bunch of bullies. And the reason I survived is I didn't care what they thought of me. I didn't care. You are not relevant on the left unless you get a hit piece by the Daily Beast and by Raw Story. I got 2 hit pieces by Raw Story, a Daily Beast hit piece. I had quote-unquote writers obsess about me in a publication that doesn't even exist anymore. Yet when you type in my name, you still see the hit pieces. All they want to do is silence people on the left. That's their lives. Then they demand Trump behave in a certain manner. And he might push the envelope, but he doesn't do exactly what they do. He pushes the envelope, but they're so incensed that they go after him with everything they have in the most violent, disgusting manner. And they're hypocrites because they claim to be morally superior. They claim to be more empathetic. They're the least. You couldn't find less empathy than on the left. Because they don't run on logic. They run on emotion. It's completely illogical to say that, well, Trump said something bad about McCain months after he passed away, and therefore we can make fun of his brother today. Because his brother did nothing to anyone. John McCain, you could say, look, had a lot to do with the Steele dossier. Congressman Dingell couldn't stand Trump, tried to denigrate him every chance he got also. So you don't speak ill of the dead, but if you do go there, try to at least wait 5, 6, 7, 9 months, which is what Trump did, and they still thought that it was irresponsible. Oh my God, look what Trump is doing, and it's hurting the families, and da-da-da. Well, what do you think he didn't do it the day of. So the day of is okay? But what did Robert Trump do to any Democrat? He did nothing to anyone. At least Trump made comments about political people that were basically trying to take him down all the time. And he didn't tell Trump supporters to share a hashtag. The hashtag Wrong Trump, by the way, has been shared tens of thousands of times. That's one of the reasons I don't have Twitter. And people did not lose their lives because of Trump. People lost their lives because it's a pandemic, and if you're unhealthy, or if you have an existing illness, or if you are basically, the mortality rate for people who are much older is a lot higher than for anyone else. Cuomo himself said it was a 0.5% mortality rate, which means, according to that 99+% of the population survives the pandemic. We have 320 million Americans. Another problem the imbeciles have on the left. We have 320 million Americans. We had 80,000 who lost their lives of the flu in 2018. This is obviously worse than the flu. But I don't remember people shutting down their entire lives, economy, everything. CDC, 80,000 people lost their lives of the flu last year in the U.S. So you go from 80,000 to 160, 170. Yeah, it's worse than the flu. But we have 320 million Americans. Most of the lives lost are in about 7 Democratic-run states. So the whole country has to shut down. Then they say, oh, the food lines, you're shutting down the economy, imbecile. What do you expect? Oh, well, shutting down the economy to save their lives so they can be in food lines so we can save food lines. These are the most disgusting, most vile, most pathetic, most... it would be depressing if they actually could win, but they're not going to win the next election. But I want to know what Trump has done that's worse than what President Obama did. I want to know what he's done. What did he ever do that was worse than what President Obama did with Libya? I want to know if he drank Flint water like President Obama. He didn't. The media is out to get Trump all the time. Everything is his fault. Every scandal is magnified. Suspicion is like suspicion is a word created by Trump, or the Trump era, or Trump's America. I love when they say Trump's America. When it comes to Clinton, millions from Uranium One into the foundation, you can't prove anything. Millions from UBS, you can't prove anything. Millions from weapons deals from UBS, from Boeing, from $10 billion raised. The people of Haiti got less than 3%. You can't prove anything. Private server to hide communication, obviously. With top secret intelligence, nobody knows how it got there. You can't prove anything. It was over. The FBI concluded. No, the FBI didn't conclude anything. They covered it up. Everyone knows this. Why do you think I get such a thrill about saying Madam Secretary Clinton will be nominee? Because the left is petrified, but they can't be overt. They can't admit that they're horrified and scared and petrified beyond belief that Clinton will be nominee again, because they're duplicitous. So they kept pushing Clinton for 2 years, and then she lost, and then they're like, oh my god, the Russians. And then the most qualified person who's ever existed to run for president, they don't want again. Why? Because they realize they made a mistake, but it doesn't matter. She's the best thing they have this election, so they have no choice. It's a political machine anyway. They never had a choice. Then they go after Trump drinking water and going down a ramp because Biden is so obscenely frightening when he moves and talks and slurs his speech and everything else. Says that he's running for Senate, calls Arizona a city. Are you kidding me? Comes up with the most absurd stories. Of course he's going to be replaced eventually by Clinton. What do you think? And it's like, the deplorables are not Trump supporters. The deplorables, if there are deplorables, you can say are on the left. So it's really, it kind of makes me like, I ask myself, okay, you know what? This is who they are. When Trump, 9 months after McCain, or months and months after McCain passed away, says something about McCain, oh my God. When Robert Trump passes away, immediately wrong Trump. And where's the respect for the presidency? Where's the respect for the presidency? They say, well, Trump, his behavior doesn't. Well, if you constantly poke and prod at somebody, and you constantly insult somebody all the time, and he fights back, this is what they do with Trump. They insult him all the time. They accuse him all the time of things he didn't do. So they say that Trump has lied. Well, the media and Democrats have lied for the past 4 years, infinitely more than Trump ever did. And what they did wasn't just hyperbole. They lied regarding accusing President Trump of working with a foreign power, a hostile foreign nation. They had zero evidence. The evidence was purchased by Madam Secretary and the DNC. The Steele dossier was purchased. And then you have Kevin Kleinsmith, who was indicted and pled guilty, and who's going to flip and sing. And of course, MSNBC doesn't want to cover it. That's why 60% of Americans don't trust media. They don't care. This is like the only country in the history of the world. The U.S. in 2020 is the only country in the history of the world where media has very little effect on the average person. It only impacts people who didn't vote for Trump, so now they're even more rabid and apoplectic and hysterical and fanatical. The average person who just isn't a Democrat, lifelong Democrat, I was able to leave the cult. I left that cult, thank God. I was a lifelong Democrat, but I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. And when I would question, I was like a heretic. Oh my God, oh, you're so bad, oh my God. And then all the euphemisms come. It's like, what? What are you talking? This makes no sense. Trump is going to usher in an era of the 1930s and 1940s Germans. I can't say the word. No, he's not, you imbecile. You absolute buffoon. You fool. Anyone who would believe that. And first of all, he's the greatest friend to the country of Israel, the only Jewish state in the world, the greatest friend that Jewish people have ever had for Israel. That's why the majority of Israelis have a very favorable view of him. Religious Jews have a very favorable view of him. And Jewish Americans who care about Israel have a very favorable view of him. And that's why you're going to see more minorities vote for President Trump, including Black and African American voters and Latino and Hispanic voters. It's Latino and Hispanic voters that will give Trump the victory, ultimately. Because President Trump is going to win re-election. There's zero, and this type of thing has lit a. This type of thing reminds you, the way they had the wrong Trump and the insulting President Trump while his brother passed away. You want to act that way? You go ahead and act that way. See what happens on when the voter turnout is low for Democrats and voter turnout is high for Republicans. The 2016 will be the best, most beautiful time in Democratic Party history compared to when they lose again in 2020, they're done for a generation. They have nobody waiting in the wings. Nobody. Every person on that debate stage, including Bernie Sanders, is a walking doormat of the Democratic Party. Mainly, Bernie is the biggest doormat of all. But you think, who do they have? De Blasio? Eric Swalwell? Who do they have? DUI, what's his name? The guy who, from Texas, Beto O'Rourke. They literally had a presidential candidate with a DUI in Beto O'Rourke. So, it's just unbelievable. I can go on forever. I can't believe. Jimbo! HSC was looking radiant and white. Jimbo! lady in white. Jimbo Simon, Hathaway Spurlock. I am Deborah Wasserman. If you say a derogatory word about Deborah Wasserman, you'll have me to contend with. I am Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Deborah Wasserman Schultz, biggest booster on the internet. Simon Hathaway Spurlock. Thank you very much. Old school dad man. I love that the MSM made Trump message mainstream in 2016 on all day, every day. Now want to silence in 2020. Exactly. Every single day we hear about how Trump is vile, and they turn it up a notch. Yeah, so Trump is belligerent. So he's in your face. Yeah, he goes after people who go after him. You don't like President Trump's personality? Well, did you like record low unemployment? Did you like the way the governors of Illinois, the governor of Illinois, do you like the way the governor of New York, do you like the way the governor of New Jersey dealt with their pandemics? Are the lives and God bless the people in those states, are the lives of people who were lost, is it because of Pritzker? Is it because of Murphy? Is it because of Cuomo? Or is it because of Trump, who has zero jurisdiction, about what happens within a state? Zero. And then they say, well, he could have done this. He could have led by example. Anything he would have done would have been scrutinized. He immediately in January, long before the New York Democrats did anything to tackle the pandemic, long before he started a travel ban based on the pandemic. It was the pandemic travel ban. Oh, my God, he's xenophobic. Then they were saying, a travel ban's not going to stop a microscopic organism. Let's see. Dems oppose Trump. So this was after attacking Trump's pandemic-related travel ban as xenophobic. Dems and media have changed tune. This is a Fox article. Within hours of President Trump's decision to restrict travel from China on January 31st, top Democrats and media immediately derided the move as unnecessary and xenophobic. And then, when you get, they say, well, a fact check, did Biden really oppose the move? Not really. This is what he said. Trump's record of hysteria, xenophobia, and fear-mongering is the worst possible person to lead our country through a global health emergency. No, President Trump did a lot better than you would have done. And Biden opposed the travel restrictions from China. So which one is it? You can't leave your house, or you're okay with no restrictions? Which one is it? Then they say, well, Biden never called Trump xenophobic because of that. We don't know if he called it. Yes, he did. Bernie Sanders is asked if he would close the border to prevent pandemic from further spreading. Bernie said no. They were all talking about Vox also tweeted out, is it going to be a deadly pandemic? No. And then we have deleted a tweet from January 34th that no longer reflects our current reality of the pandemic. So all of these, this is a great article. All of these wonderful experts on the left were all wrong. Jacob Reed, is this a casino? Am I winning? Jacob Reed, hello. Thank you again. So this is the way Democrats work. Jacob Reed, Debbie Pepperstein. Jacob Reed, thank you. And I'm on 3458. Trump's last two presses have been refreshing. The lies from his enemies get more bizarre and irrational by the day. Absolutely. And I'm on 3458. Absolutely. They don't have actual... The left does not have an argument against Trump. They just don't like his personality. That's what it comes down to. What has he done that's worse than... What has Trump done that's worse than what President Obama did in destroying Libya, that Biden and Clinton did in destroying Libya? What have they done? What have they done that's... What has President Trump done that's worse? I want to know what Trump has done that's worse than what President Obama did in Libya. I want to know what Trump has done that's worse than what President Obama did drinking Flint water and saying that it wasn't poisonous when it was. What has President Trump done that's worse than just allowing brutality at Standing Rock, which is what President Obama did? He did nothing, and until he was like basically shamed into doing something at the end of when all the brutality took was enough for President Obama, or he basically had enough of just sitting there doing nothing. The media doesn't do its job. It doesn't give a picture in its entirety. It doesn't give all of it. It just foments the belief that Trump could have worked with Russia because of suspicion. But nobody is suspicious of the left. Nobody's suspicious of Biden. Why is that? Because they have skin in the game. They want they're activists. They're not journalists. They want a specific outcome. That's why when you have liberal journalists actually working with FBI agents, and we know who they were, spreading information about the Steele dossier, that's why when you have that type of dynamic, people eventually don't trust media. Adam on 31458, I agree with you. It's becoming more irrational by the day. Old school dad, man. HA, what's the over-under on ratings for the D convention? Might have to go on the under. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Biden could accept the nomination. Clinton could be nominated. I was always expecting them to see, but I was looking at it like a normal nomination. I don't know. I will say this. At some point before the debates, they're going to go with Hillary Clinton. She's the only chance they have. She's the only chance they have. Old school dad, man. What's going to probably happen is they're going to say, oh my God, Clinton's speech was magical, amazing, inspiring. Oh, she did so great. But Biden didn't look so great, which is bizarre. Gosh, I remember in 2016 when you-know-who just wiped out. And if you said anything about it, oh my God, you should wish that you were never born. You were the most vile and disgusting people. If you said anything about you-know-who wiping out, oh my God. Like that would be that would have been so horrendous. You should be ashamed of yourself. But they don't act in the way that they preach. They're the new televangelists of this generation. The Democrats, the Democratic Party, media, liberals and left-leaning activists and leftists or whatever, progressives, people on the left, on Twitter, on social media, in politics, are the televangelists of 2020. They're the ones who will promise you salvation, and they'll promise you, if they'll actually judge you and condemn you and demean you, and they will try to ruin your lives if you don't agree with them, or they'll try to paint you as immoral if you don't agree with their lofty ideals and teachings. And it doesn't matter if they're hypocrites, because they don't care about hypocrisy. They call it whataboutism. Whataboutism has always had a name. It's called hypocrisy. If a vegan goes to you with a chili dog and a cheeseburger and a milkshake and says, you better eat no milk and no eggs and just celery, and you're like, well, but what about you eating a cheeseburger? Whataboutism? No, it's called hypocrisy. You're being a hypocrite. You're claiming to uphold values and ideals that you do not uphold yourself. Why would anyone listen to you? Whataboutism? Don't you understand? I'm morally righteous because I feel like I am, because I'm emotional, and I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. Come on, man. Lady Lily 115. Lady Lily, thank you. Old school dad man. Who knows what's going to happen with this? They can't name anything that he's done. It's always the response to the pandemic. Well, what response? Can you be specific? He could have led by example, but nobody would have listened to him anyway. So what are you talking about? Oh, all the lives lost are, on his watch. Well, okay, they're also on Cuomo's watch and Pritzker's watch and Murphy's watch and a whole bunch of other governors' watch and Mayor de Blasio's watch. So you mean that every other mayor and governor presiding over the worst locations that have suffered the worst, you mean they don't get? Nobody blames them, only Trump, the Orange Menace. You had Vox tweeting out, that's not that big of a deal. You had, what's his name? Yeah, this wonderful guy with the Clorettes. He's a very esteemed medical professional. Anyone who talks like this, ladies and gentlemen, with a really wonderful accent, you know what? You can open up the economy when the Messiah comes, and when you cross the Grand Canyon on a unicycle while juggling fiery bowling pins. And when you get to the other side, call me, and I'll have you jump across a river full of piranha. Then you can open up the economy, but it's too bad we have food lines. J-Spot J! I have a hard time dealing with hypocrisy. Me too. That's all they do. That's what they are. Biggest hypocrites on the planet. Twitter will be their undoing. They say that anyone votes for Trump is bolstering his racism. Well, that's not only up for the debate. He hasn't expressed anything that Democrats haven't expressed, but they get away with it. And actually, what he has stated isn't nearly as offensive. And he's made crude remarks before, but they're not nearly as offensive as what Biden himself has stated. And he never called both sides fine people, meaning he wasn't referring to the people with tiki torches and the racists and the bigots. He wasn't referring to those people as fine people. The left completely fabricates. He never called the pandemic itself a hoax. He called the response by media. When you have liberal outlets that have to delete tweets, I have no clue why New York's governor is not taken to task by the media. I have no clue why Illinois' governor, why New Jersey's governor, and the mayors of the biggest cities. Look at the unemployment rate in the country. You look at the unemployment rate by state in the country today. Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, California, Michigan, Illinois. And those happen to be the worst hit with the pandemic. Isn't that interesting? So the states that are the worst hit with the pandemic are also the states that have the most unemployment. Now, Kentucky, Utah, Idaho, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Montana, South Dakota, Alabama, Kansas, Georgia, North Carolina, Wyoming, Missouri, Arkansas, those have the least unemployment. And they have the least cases and lives lost from the pandemic. Do you see maybe a pattern here? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be Einstein or Neil deGrasse Tyson or Stephen Hawking or you don't have to be a super genius, brilliant brainiac to realize that the states run by Democrats have the most cases and lives lost in the pandemic and the highest unemployment rate. They're not doing well. Blame the Democrats for that. You can look at the unemployment statistics and the rate of transmission or the rate of lives lost or cases and because of the pandemic. It's like night and day. Massachusetts, blue state. New Jersey, blue state. New York, blue state. Nevada's, but Nevada voted blue. California, Michigan, Illinois. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the top 7, you could say. Okay, no, Hawaii and then Pennsylvania. Hawaii's a blue state. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Delaware also. Oh, look at Delaware. Biden. All blue states have the highest 17% unemployment. 17% unemployment in Massachusetts. Pennsylvania, 13% unemployment. You don't think they're blaming Oregon, 11% unemployment. You think they're all blaming Trump? Maybe. It's like they're so gone in terms of basic logic. It's just unbelievable. So it's like you add up these states and you get over half. And they lead the country in unemployment. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. They have the highest unemployment rates and the highest toll of lives lost. And that's Trump's fault. And that's Trump's fault. Teresa King! Thank you, Teresa. Luke St. Martin, thank you. Eric H526. Simon Hathaway Spurlock. Eric H526 rules. Yes, he does. Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, California, Michigan, and Illinois are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 6 states that have the highest, the states with the highest unemployment rates. They're all, if you look, Oregon, New Hampshire, Alaska's Republican, Rhode Island, Delaware, Pennsylvania, all Democrats except one. So I want to know how this is Trump's fault. I would love to know how this is Trump's fault. Like, how on earth is this Trump's fault? It makes no sense at all. They keep saying oh my God, Trump's America, Trump this, Trump that. It's like, and we'll get to, look, we saw what President Trump tweeted out today and yesterday. In fact, I did my segment prior to him tweeting out the other I did my segment prior to him tweeting out what he did. This is what President Trump wrote today, and it's kind of hilarious. It's actually very hilarious. He wrote, the following. Hold on one second. So, God bless Robert Trump. His memory. God bless Trump, President Trump and his family. And the reaction, I spent an hour on it, but I'm like, the reaction on this tragedy has been typical of, see here, Biden staffers rushed the press out of the room before Joe Biden can answer any questions. And President Trump writes something, he wrote something fishy. Hold on one second. It was earlier on today where it was, here, very strange. Sleepy Joe never takes questions. See, nobody gets this is the thing also. Nobody gets his humor. Nobody gets his... J-Spot J, thank you. Nobody gets Corn Pop was a bad dude. Bad. Nobody gets his humor. Like, they love Biden. Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? Till Biden do you part? Come on, man. But Donald J. Trump, very strange. Sleepy Joe never takes questions. Also, his reporters have zero drive. Why can't my reporters behave like that? Something's going on. And it's like, no, who believes like Biden and Kamala Harris? She doesn't have support within the Democratic Party to actually create enthusiasm, but at least she would make she's a good vice president to somebody like, say, Hillary Clinton, who she can stand up to President Trump in debates. She's the best candidate Democrats have, because through the deceit and duplicitous behavior, there's honesty there. I know that sounds weird, but if you can always rely, it's like if you have a volcano that just always erupts, and then for one reason, 1 year it doesn't, eventually it's going to erupt. You have a person that continually acts a certain way for 50 years. When they pretend that they're not going to, or 40 years, when they pretend that they're not going to act that way, you pretty much know they're being honest in their duplicity. That's kind of a bizarre way of looking at it, but Clinton is honest in her duplicity. Because you know that there's no way that she'd work under Biden. That's not possible. That is not possible. And then they say, like, they'll say things like, well, Trump could be racist and he could do non-racist things. Like, well, but racists don't usually do those things. So you can't make categorical sweeping statements like that about President Trump when he's allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities, when he signed the First Step Act, when Biden and Harris presided over mass incarceration. And Harris had 1,000 cases that had to be dropped because of prosecutorial misconduct, because one of the lab technicians in the crime lab was snorting the cocaine. We've had a first. We've never had somebody who had a crime lab scandal be like this before. Oh my God, what a first. Oh my God. Simon Hathaway Spurlock. Trump 2020, greatest president of my lifetime. Me too. Born in 79, I have never been more proud to be an American. God bless you, H.A. God bless you, Simon Hathaway Spurlock. God bless you. Thank you very much. And thank you, as always, for your kind words, your support. God bless you. Thank you very much. Simon Hathaway Spurlock. It's, you look at, you look at President Trump, very strange, Sleepy Joe, and you see like the press is like so eager to, I mean, they're just shooing away like the Biden people. Like, that's it, you can go now, you gotta go, come on, move it. Not like the typical, like, Mr. President, I just want to let you know, you were lying. You said something, you said it was the best economy. It wasn't the best economy. We had a better economy before this. It's like, they were going after Trump for saying this is his lie. This is one of his lies. When Trump's like, yeah, we have the best economy. Oh, it wasn't the best economy. We've had better economy. We had better economy. In the 50s, it was better. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit of hyperbole, but like every president speaks like that. The media is just petulant. I don't see, like, I see Clinton will be the nominee. I don't know how, because she's the best chance they have. They would lose miserably with Biden. So whatever, they want to lose miserably, it's their problem. Simon Hathaway Spurlock, thank you. Hi-Fi Trucker. Bill Clinton, I know why my wife wasn't 50 points ahead, but I ain't telling. I know why my wife wasn't 50 points ahead, but I ain't telling. Hi-Fi Trucker, thank you. Hi-Fi Trucker, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi-Fi Trucker, thank you. Thank you very much, Hi-Fi Trucker. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Madam Secretary eventually will be nominee, but when Hi-Fi Trucker, something's going on. When President Trump says something's going on, I don't want to look into his tweets too much because I'm not a big fan of that. Like meetings within, but he's pretty much telling you something is going on. So what do you think's going on? What do you think's going on? What do you think would be going on? Oh, that's right. That's right. They're not serious about Biden. They can, okay, I explained. There's a Ballotpedia article. There's a 538 article. They can definitely change. They can definitely, they have no problem. And I have a segment today that's doing very, very well. Hi-Fi Trucker, thank you so very much as always. I hope all is well. Thank you for your generosity. Thanks, Hi-Fi Trucker. They don't have actual bylaws. Like, they don't run by, a structure of, like, an organization that truly cares about a bureaucracy, or like how a bureaucracy is run. It is a political machine where the DNC lawyers, during the DNC fraud lawsuit waged by Jared Beck, Elizabeth Beck, and Nico House, where they actually stated, we don't have to pick. We can pick our nominee in smoke-filled back rooms. We don't even have to have a primary. So they don't even have to have a primary. As it is, they're not doing any media prior to the convention. They're not doing any media prior to the convention. They're not taking any questions from reporters. They're having a virtual convention, and Biden's going to be in his basement. And I think that the biggest reason they're doing all of this is to ensure that Biden is just horrible enough for people to beg for Madam Secretary, but just viable enough to be seen as realistic by millions of lemmings that will believe anything. There are millions upon millions of people who are either gullible or who will believe anything that fits their existing biases. So, I'm actually looking at a lemming right now. They're kind of cute. This is really weird. Trout may be dining on lots of lemmings? How is that possible? Oh my God, trout, the actual fish eat lemmings. Oh my God. 22% of trout had eaten lemmings that were captured in this lake. Oh my God. Oh my God. How does that happen? Because I never even knew trout could do that. Anyway, it's bizarre. They're swimming along the lake, then poof, they get eaten by trout. Anyway, Hi-Fi Trucker. Hi-Fi Trucker, thank you very much. Teresa King. Da Vinci, hello. Teresa King. The brash part of the President Trump's personality is his charm. Democrats cannot stand, honestly, and he stands for it 100%. Exactly. President Trump is the living embodiment that Democrats don't run the show. that they don't, that they're not capable. Teresa King and Hi-Fi Trucker. The best part of President Trump is that he's in their faces all the time. He doesn't ever stop. He doesn't ever give up. He's in their faces all the time. And it's like they need, let me tell you something. Twitter they're going to retweet Trump. J-Spot J, hello. Hi-Fi Trucker, they're going to retweet Trump to 8 years. They're going to retweet Trump into 8 years in office. And it's going to be a great thing. And it's just so disgusting. I'll probably wait till tomorrow to do my segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Just because I want to calm down a little before I do my segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel. It's just so, they're so insidious. It's unbelievable. Trump never went after a person the day of his brother passing away. Never. There's nothing. And then they say, well, tell that to the people who lost their lives in the pandemic. I heard explained. The states that have the most unemployment and the highest rate of fatalities are Democratic-run states. They're doing bad in terms of economy and bad in terms of the pandemic. The red states are doing infinitely better. So it's not a red state issue. It's a blue state issue, and it's certainly not It's not Trump's fault. He doesn't run New York or New Jersey or Illinois or Michigan or Pennsylvania. So, and then they say, well, there are people hardest hit. Yeah, the people hardest hit they have Democrats as mayors. Why is that? The State of the State addresses by governors, like President Trump has a State of the Union address. Well, they have a State of the State address. Okay? They had the State of the State address in January and February. Not one of these Democratic governors that blame Trump for their problems mentioned the pandemic. Jimbo! Oh, I think I will. I like that. I have no problem with that, Jimbo. And just don't get into a discussion with me about the humidor. Jimbo! So then they get they've convinced themselves about things that don't exist. So President Trump, a couple of days, yesterday, said everybody does phony books on Donald Trump and Republicans, just like the fake dossier, which turned out to be a total fraud perpetuated by crooked Hillary and the DNC. Then you get a response. This is the logic. I want to explain to the 600 people here watching. This is the logic of Democrats. Did you already forget about your brother Robert Trump in hospital, very ill? What? What does that have to do with what he just said? Does he have to always bring that up a day before the man passes away? He can't bring up the Steele dossier? You have to be the coldest person on earth. So the accusation is not reflected in reality. There's no... The tweet from Trump in no way, shape, or form circumvented the reality that his brother was on his last breath. It had nothing to do with his brother, actually. But of course, the Democrat, on social media, most people would drop everything and run to be at their side. Well, he's the president, and he did visit his brother, so who knows what his schedule is? Is this someone else you are not speaking to? You are a effing madman. So that's what they do. They create this world. They create this world that doesn't exist. They create a world that doesn't exist, and then they judge Trump based on the world that they've created. I want to know what he's done that's worse than what President Obama did destroying Libya. What did Trump do that's worse? I want to know. And you'll get like responses, well, he's created a toxic climate throughout American politics. Now that's the media. And he was also the first, he also gave more funding he allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities. And that's important. That's important because it should have happened a long time ago. And he signed a deal signed a legislation to renew the funding. But that's important. You cannot be a racist and do that. And then they say, well, Kamala Harris is a great pick. Well, how many people of color were unjustly incarcerated? We already know there was a person of color who was not only unjustly incarcerated, but once he lost 9 years of his life in America, in the prison system, because he was unjustly incarcerated, Kamala Harris didn't want to pay any compensation and fought him on it. So it's pretty unbelievable. Like, oh my God. I just clicked on the Guardian. Great white shark great white shark calmly swims by snorkeler off Great Barrier Reef. Oh my God. I'm watching this right now. So it's true. The shark just... Oh, the shark was either pregnant or like well fed. Wow. And the shark, the great white shark, just basically like just swam by and almost suspended in the water. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's nuts. And you only get that deserves a lot more than 50,000 views. Oh my goodness. Sigma Nu UCLA! U.S. Representative James Clyburn, the Kingmaker, recently stated that Joe Biden is only the presumptive nominee. The final decision will be made at the convention. Yes! Sigma Nu UCLA. I gotta find that. UCLA! Sigma Nu UCLA. Thank you. You're one of the few Bruins that I like, in addition to family members who went to UCLA, but friends, but you Sigma Nu UCLA, thank you so very, very much. And this is I'm telling you, God bless you. You're one of the few Bruins, but I respect you greatly. And truth be told, I've known some really, really wonderful Bruins in my life. So, Sigma Nu UCLA, let's see. James Clyburn and Willie Brown are two of the most important people within the Democratic Party. I'm gonna try to find Sigma Nu UCLA. I'm going to try to find that quote. Sigma Nu UCLA, if you have that, if you have a link to that, if you could give that here, and then if Eric H526 or Luke St. Martin can relay that to me on this chat. Sigma Nu UCLA, if you could find first of all, thank you first and foremost for your generosity, always, Sigma Nu UCLA, for watching. But if you have a link to that, that would be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. I'm trying to find it right now, and I can't. But let's see. Thank you, Sigma, new UCLA. Yeah, Clinton is going to be nominee eventually, and God bless her. She's the best chance Democrats have, and Trump will still win. Trump will still win. Let's see. When they lose again, it'll be very interesting. Sigma, new UCLA, thank you. Victor! Antagonists against Trump who will see jail time. Victor! I'm not sure. But I know that we already have the first indictment, so I'm not sure. I can't tell you. You will see indictments. It just depends on who flips on, like how many people flip on each other. But the way the segment of UCLA, you're 100% right. I mean, we had the DNC spokeswoman saying that they're not officially nominating Joe Biden. So whether Clinton becomes nominee at the convention or after the convention or before the debates, I will have made the biggest political call of all time with the support of everyone on this live stream and everyone who watches me. And it was kind of like old times with, because I remember last election, I did pretty well in terms of my, my segments, doing well on YouTube. And I have 24,000 views on my last upload, which is a lot more than I usually get because I only focus on 5 or 6 themes consistently. I'm like the old reliable of Bernie being cheated and, a bunch of other themes, Trump being a great president. I already, Sigma Nu UCLA, you are 100% right in terms of thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam Roth. Thank you. They're doing it via email, and who knows who's better at email than Madam Secretary? They have something up their sleeve. And it's like, how many times do you let your boyfriend or girlfriend stand you up after you make them dinner? How many times? People don't change their personality traits. People don't change their personality traits. Not even it takes a long time, even for people who are incarcerated, to truly change their personality traits. And even then, their traits might be the same, but they might say, look, I've had enough of this life, so I'm not going to live this way. I'm going to live a better life. But their personality, who they are, remains the same. They'll just make better decisions. But if you are a politician and you're known for a never-ending quest for political power, you don't suddenly give it up. There's not that one person, Al Capone doesn't say, "Oh, you know what? I'm tired. Let me just, do you want to run everything and get all the money and power and fame? Here, go ahead. Yeah, I'm tired. Running the global empire here. Nah, go ahead. Or New York and Chicago. Go ahead. I'm, you can take over everything. Nah, I'm not going to even argue with you. Go ahead, take over. Yeah, I'll work for you too. How's that? Could you imagine? Imagine if Al Capone said, you know what? I'll work for you. Okay? That's what Clinton said to Biden. I'll go ahead and work for him. It's not possible. That makes no sense at all. And then when it happens, oh my God, she said she would work for him. Oh my God, how could you even think anything was, oh my God, you just said, all right. Sigma Nu, UCLA, thank you, UCLA. Everybody loves Devin. Everybody loves Devin. Do you think Madam Secretary truly keeps on? No. I love hot sauce. In fact, I love hot sauce so much that I've had to stop eating hot sauce because it's just, I put too much hot sauce. No good. Too much is no good. I can eat pretty hot sauce. Like, hotter than most people. But then it doesn't get enjoyable. You know. Everybody loves Devin. I mean, the hot sauce that I like, there's a Louisiana hot sauce. There's Tapatio and Cholula, they're okay. But there's a couple other good ones too. There's actually ones that are way better. Let's see. Nah, there's no way. Everybody loves Devin. There's no way that she puts hot sauce in her pocket and everything. No way. She puts top secret and classified data, but not hot sauce. I'll tell you which ones. Why is it so difficult to find out? Like, I forgot which ones it is. There's one, they're like Louisiana hot sauce. Hold on one second. Oh, the original Louisiana brand. Yeah, that's a good one. So, Louisiana hot sauce. It's just called Louisiana hot sauce. The original Louisiana brand hot sauce. That's a good one. That doesn't ever fail. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see. Oh my goodness. First last. Thank you. First last. I hope all is well. Simon Hathaway Spurlock. Oh, Nancy, if you think you're going to become president, you have another thing coming. You got another thing coming. Simon, I'm going to get back to that. Thank you. Nancy, wake up from your nightmare. You're not going to become president. Luke St. Martin. Pardon me, sir. There's no such thing as too much hot sauce. Luke St. Martin. Yes. Luke St. Martin. Thank you so very much. I stand corrected. I love hot sauce. I've just been, for me, putting too much on, and I stopped now. I don't need that. I don't need too much. But you're right. Luke St. Martin, there's really never too much, but there's a couple really good ones. I forgot the names. But Luke St. Martin, as always, an amazing moderator, and your support, and Eric H526 and Luke St. Martin. And Luke St. Martin, your support on this channel is unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you, Luke. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated, Luke. Jimbo! Joe asking Madam Secretary to help, like inviting Dominic. Honey, I invited a friend from work. What's his name? You mean the friend I invited for dinner? Yeah. His name's Jeffrey Dahmer. Why? Have you heard of him? He's gonna help cook. Oh, what's for dinner? We are. Jimbo! Jimbo, Luke St. Martin. Anthony Perone, hello. Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the kind words, Anthony. Luke St. Martin, first, last. Thank you very, very much. Simon Hathaway, Spurlock. You know, it's interesting. So, oh, that's okay. Nancy, do you expect a meteor to enter Earth's atmosphere and take out all of humanity so you become president? So you can eat all of your $50 ice cream. So you can rub it in with people on the food lines with all the $50 ice cream you ate. I don't think so. Because first we have Pensy. Mike Pence. You're going to work under him. And he will make sure that all your hedonistic, sinful impulses are taken care of. Get your mind out of the gutter, Nancy. Simon Hathaway Spurlock. Thank you. First, last, thank you again. Paul Bartlett, hello. Paul, thank you. Jim trolling or okay, presumptive. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Come on now. I lost my lottery ticket. Come on, my best friend stole my lottery ticket. Come on, man. I lost my car keys. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I love how the police union endorsed Trump. What a message it sends to de Blasio. How did he even become mayor? I don't understand New York City politics at all anymore. Not that I really had a great understanding of it, but come on, man. My favorite though is thank you, JDM's Rule 14. Thank you. Wally Pop, hello. My favorite is when they ask him, because they always, embrace his rear end, so embrace his Tales from the Crypt rear end. Mr. Vice President. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for talking to us. Come on, man. Come on, hurry up. My wife is calling me. Come on, I'm in trouble now. I'm in trouble. The wifey. I have to go. Mr. Vice President, please, can you please answer a question for us? What is it? Have you taken a cognitive test? Why would I take a cognitive test? Come on, man. Come on, man. You junkie. You're a junkie. You're taking the cocaine, don't you? You're a junkie. You're snorting up now? Huh? Why'd you ask me? Smells so good. Why did you? Come on, man. Why would I take a test? Why would I even take a test? I'm totally cognitive. I'm fine, lucid. I beat Corn Pop. What do you want? What more do you want? Come on, man. Junkie. This is the best that they have? I don't think so. Something tells me I don't think so. Something tells me that it's not the best they have. Are you a junkie? Why would I be a junkie? I'm asking if you took a cognitive test. Sigma Nu UCLA! Sigma Nu UCLA, thank you! You're a junkie. You asked me that question. Sigma Nu UCLA, thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Sigma Nu UCLA. Why do I have a hard time believing that Tales from the Crypt is the best thing they have? Well, he won the primaries, so they already cheated. They don't have a primary. What? Oh, that happened. So what? So what if it happened? Well, so what? We've heard about it every day. The Russians hacked the DNC. So, this is really going to be the end of the liberal paradigm that's been so duplicitous and disingenuous and just unbelievably. Everything they claim to every ideal or value system they claim to uphold, in reality, they don't care about any of the values or ideals. They'll grasp at anything for political power. They don't care. Duplicity is like a way of life. You believe with Kavanaugh, don't believe with Tara Reid. Oh, Russian interference, then you purchase the Steele dossier. Oh my God, did you see what Trump said? Then you go after Robert Trump, and God bless the Trump family, and God bless President Trump and his family, and this horrible day. I mean, it must be a horrible, sad day for President Trump. But the empathetic people suddenly aren't being empathetic now, are they? Are they empathetic? No, they're not. And they're going after Brett Favre for going golfing with Trump. It's like, you know what? He's the president of the United States of America. And Brett Favre is voting for President Trump almost certainly. So what? Great. Good for Brett Favre. Makes me like him even more. Good. It's like if you simply have dislike, at a certain point you have to look in the mirror and ask, well, why do I dislike Trump so much? Because maybe it's not about Trump. Maybe it's about me. Maybe it's about their dislike for Trump says more about them than it does about President Trump. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sigma Nu UCLA, I want to thank you, everybody. Check out my segment tomorrow on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I will be here. I'm going to take a little time to relax because I'm pretty upset about how they're treating the president. President Trump did nothing they did nothing. He's never done anything similar to what they're doing to him. And their whole lives are cutting Trump down to size. It's like, well, President Trump is actually his behavior or his actions have been far more ethical than the way they've treated him. President Trump didn't set up and frame his direct political rivals. They set up and framed him. So for 4 years, you had Democratic pundits and progressive pundits, many of them, saying Trump worked with Russia. These were all lies. These were all absurd allegations based not only on a lack of evidence, but the absence of any evidence. And when you called them on it, they just doubled down and they said, oh, well, you know what? We're suspicious. We're suspicious. And yet they're never suspicious when all roads point to money that they take or, ties that they have with Russia. or any other country. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. It's heating up, people. I will have made the biggest political call of all time very soon. Hillary Clinton is the best candidate they have. They all know this. And they're not going to just simply lose the election because of the sanctity of their primary, which they've already stated in court doesn't really exist. And they have something up their sleeve, and I called this in 2017. Share my Huffington Post article below. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. It's happening slowly but surely. God bless President Trump's family. God bless you. And ladies and gentlemen, be here November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and every day until then, because Sigma Nu, UCLA, Jimbo, everyone here, First Last, Simon Hathaway, Spurlock, Dogface, Pony Soldier. Clinton will eventually be nominee because she's the best candidate they have. Give me your thoughts below. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel if you want to support my voice long term. My Patreon is below. People, it's heating up. Make sure to check out my upload. Tomorrow before the hours and hours before the live stream. Be here every evening at around 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific for my live streams. They're epic. What did we get? Almost over 600 people today. Paul, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Sigma Nu, UCLA, thank you. I will see you tomorrow. And subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel right now.